Believe it or not, people will pay a lot of money for explicit content. But when it comes to pricing on your OnlyFans, it's never as simple as let's just charge the most or let's just charge the least. If you really want to be getting the most out of all your subscribers, you need to understand the psychology of pricing and how you can use it to your advantage. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do just that. Whether you're a creator or an agency owner, I would recommend coming up with a content pricing guide, as it's really going to help you to visualize how your pricing works, as well as be essential if you ever want to outsource your chatting. And the way you can do that is with a content hierarchy, which is what this is. Now, the way you fill this out is by starting at the top and then working your way down. So imagine, these are the different tiers of content that the creator will do. Okay, so first you want to fill out what is the most explicit, expensive, exciting kind of content that you have access to, right? That goes in here. Then what's one step down from that? One step down from that. And now this should take into consideration things like videos are probably going to be more expensive than photos. But this content could be anything. Like it could go pussy video, pussy picture, boob video, boob picture, selfies in lingerie, free selfies, for example, right? It could be anything. But the beauty of this is that no matter what content it is, there's always going to be the most explicit, expensive thing. As long as you have the increments down, this is all going to work. When it comes to pricing your tiers of content, I wouldn't go for concrete prices like 200, 150, 120. I would advise using price ranges, so having a low end and a high end. Let's say 150 to 200, 120 to 150, 100 to 120. It's just going to give you that bit of flexibility that's really going to help. I also wouldn't worry about making it competitively priced. Some creators are always going to do 5 sex tapes for $3. Some will also do 1 boob picture for over $200. Just choose a price for each tier that feels a little bit expensive, like, ooh, I don't know if they're going to pay that, and then make it 20% more expensive. And that's probably around where you want to be. Now, for big spenders and really niche spenders that like specific content, we're going to exclude them from this pricing structure altogether, as in we're going to charge them more for that kind of content if it's what they're into. I'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second. Just remember, this isn't the be all and end all. There are a lot of little intricacies with pricing when it comes to different fans and different situations, and we're going to get into all of that, but this is just a good baseline to have. It's also handy because when you're creating your sexting sequences, it helps you to decide what content to make. So that's your first pay-per-view, second pay-per-view, third, and so on. Now, something else to consider is that the traffic level on your account should influence the way that you think about your pricing. And to demonstrate, I have perhaps the best diagram in the world. Here we have an account with lots of traffic. There are lots of subs coming in. It might even be a free account. And what this creator has chosen to do is have a low content price and really focus on distributing that content to as many fans as possible. That's probably going to be with mass pay-per-view. Basically, we're focusing on getting a small amount of money out of as many fans as we can. And look, it's working. She's the only one that can afford a face, but not a neck apparently. Now, this definitely has its benefits. It's not going to be as demanding. You don't need a high level of chatting skill. The account's not going to be as fragile as if you were just focusing on a few big spenders that were carrying everything. But I guarantee you that a few of these guys could be holding bigger money bags. Moving on. This account has a lot less traffic, so the only real option if you actually want to make money is to not undervalue your content, charge high prices for it, and try to identify the spenders and get as much money out of them as you possibly can. Probably through good chatting, so like and subscribe or something. Now, this is definitely doable, but you wouldn't want to be having really low prices or you're just never going to make money. Now, over here, we have what I would say is the ideal situation. No matter how much traffic there is, we're focusing on getting as much money out of every fan as we possibly can. We have systems in place to get money out of the big spenders, and we also have systems in place to get money out of people that aren't spending as much right now. But everyone gets something, and I've got a few tips for achieving that. I like to avoid prices in like a tipping menu or in your bio, because the only thing worse than someone saying no to a high price is someone that would have said yes to a higher price saying yes to a low price, and they become one of these guys when he was meant to be one of those guys. You know what I mean? I also don't like over negotiating. It's okay to discount content sometimes if you would like to, but doing this thing of like, oh, 100, too expensive, 80, too expensive, 60, 40, 20, oh yeah, I'll buy it. that just sends the content value, through the ground, right? A good tip is renegotiating. Someone goes, oh, I can't buy that video for 80, can I have it for 60? You go, well, you can't have that video for 60, but you can have this video for 60. That way you uphold your content value, so these guys who aren't spending as much right now, one day might buy something, but you're still able to monetize them with the lower price content right now. One of the most common and effective ways of selling content is by using multiple pay-per-views to upsell. Now this can be done with sexting sequences, so content that's meant to be live that gets more explicit, or random photos and videos out of the vault that should also get more explicit as you send them. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind to ensure that people are buying as many pay-per-views as possible, because that is the ultimate goal. You want to be starting with a low price. Getting them in the door is the most important thing, right? That's because turning a yes into a yes is much easier than turning even one no into a yes. People get turned off very quickly. You can try to sell your first pay-per-view for 50 and some people will buy it. But there will be a lot of people that get turned off by that and don't buy it. And if you have gone in lower, they might have spent a lot more than 50. So I would say the most important thing is just getting them in the door at first. That could be $5 to $25. I would say that is the best range. Now, the friction comes from the jumps. Obviously, we want to be increasing the price each time, and you're most likely to run into a problem if people feel like you're jumping up too much too soon. You don't want to double up in price yet. So when you're choosing your first price, just remember, if your second jump is going to be way more compared to that first one, maybe up the first one a bit. So let's say the difference between $5 and $25, like that's a 5x. But if you'd gone $20 to $35, that's less than a double, right? So I've seen way more people go, wow, you're doubling your price each time, more than people going, wow, 35 is so expensive. Just keep that in mind. Now the jumps can and should increase as they buy more. As they get more excited and impulsive, you want to be selling it for more and more at bigger jumps. Something that I prefer is having a hump to triple digits at around the fourth pay-per-view. That's because it's really easy to get stuck going, oh, 20, 40, 60, 80, and then you're stuck in these $20 increments. So it's very hard to make a lot of money doing that. But if you go, say, 20, 35, 60, 100, right, then it's much easier to get to those higher prices because then you could go 150, 200. That really works, right? You don't need to be stuck at these low jumps, but that's why I would say around the fourth pay-per-view, try to be in triple digits. That will work a lot of the time. You also want to adapt your pricing based on how they're reacting to it. If they aren't talking about price and they're just buying, especially if it's someone new, you don't really know their buying behavior, push it a little bit, right? Push it. 20, 35, 60, 150. Try it. Like you can lower it. Once they've bought a few, it's going to be easier to turn that no into a yes, right? It's just at the start is when it's really going to fuck you. Also, on the other hand, if they complain, maybe you don't want to do that as much. If they start going, I don't know, like 60 is a bit expensive, then maybe you want to go 90 and just test the waters, right? So it's about that. That's why those ranges are really important, because then you can do the low end or the high end. And another thing, a lot of people say that they can't up the price. So they go, oh, well, I don't want to charge low because then I'll never be able to charge high again. Not true. It's just in how you frame it. So let's say you sold someone a script for 15, 35, 55, 90, 120, like that's okay, right? But what you can do is next time you really need to talk up how exciting it's going to be. This is going to be new. This is going to be different. Use lots of detail, right? Make it a big deal. And then you don't have to say, oh, it's going to be more expensive. But when you send it for more, it's going to be somewhat warranted. And you can do that each time until that becomes the norm. That doesn't work all the time, but it actually works a lot more than you'd think. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, I'd love it if you could just quickly leave it a like. It helps me out a lot. I drop videos like this multiple times a week, so if they help you, consider subscribing, share it with your friends, and if there are any problems that you're facing that you want me to make a video on, leave them in the comments and I'll try to get to all of them. Thank you. Now, upselling multiple pay-per-views is great, but some of those really high earning days come from big sales. Anything from custom videos, video calls, getting them to tip for sexting, even no pay-per-view arrangements for a week, 2 weeks. It's pretty expensive, but we'll get to that. The thing with big sales though, is that it's best to start with multiple pay-per-views, right? So I wouldn't try to sell someone a big item until you've tried to do the upselling thing, because that's how you're gonna set up the value of your content. A lot of chatters, when a fan comes on and they go, oh, can I get a custom video? They go, oh yeah, that's $600. But you haven't really established your content prices yet. So if you've done what we'd said before with that pricing, and then you say that special video is gonna be 600, it might seem more justified. So just keep that in mind. The thing with big sales is that they're lower risk to you, as in, if you try to sell multiple pay-per-views, a lot of the time you'll invest time and the person won't spend much money. It's also lower risk to the fan because they don't feel like you're just putting stuff in front of them and they're out of control just buying it, right? So it can seem like a really good deal to them. The high price can seem exciting. So remember that. If you feel like, oh, I can't believe someone would pay $400, $600, $800 for a video, people get excited by that. People that spend a lot on OnlyFans kind of like the high price. Just remember that. Take that into consideration. The buying behavior of a subscriber often changes. If you want to retain people for a really long time, if you keep trying to sell multiple pay-per-views, they're going to feel out of control, and that's when they're going to go, oh, I kind of have to watch my spending, right? Now, not all the time. Some people just stop spending, but I find you have a better shot of keeping fans for longer if you start offering them these big one-off sales instead of selling them a sexting sequence by 20, 40, 80, 120, whatever you're going to do. You do a one-off payment, even if it's the same amount the sequence would cost, and they will feel better about it. Now, something that a lot of chatters do that I personally don't like doing is breaking down the price of like a custom or a call, going, that'll be $150 a minute. If you want me to do this, it's another $50. Now, the problem with that is, if you say it's $150 a minute, the person goes, oh, well, I could say, 6 minutes, but if I just said 5 minutes, that's $150 off. I would always advise to find out what they want, how long they want it, or pitch them the idea yourself. And I have a whole video on that, which I would strongly recommend watching. But that way, you just give them a price and you don't break it down. It's 600. It's not 150 a minute, 100 a minute, 600. Even if it's 150 a minute, don't break down how you get to that price. Do you know what I'm saying? Because then people are more inclined to try and make it cheaper. Just say, you want this video? That's how much it is. You can negotiate from there, but it's better than giving them that flexibility in that regard. For getting them to tip for a sexting sequence, so a sexting session, which usually would be pay-per-views, I like to do something called the 20% rule. So if they're a big spender that you're trying to retain, so you're getting them to tip in advance, maybe so they don't leave, whatever, you can just look at the price of the sexting sequence, what it would be, and charge them 20% more than that for a big spender. Now, there are also fans where you try to do this because they're not a big spender, they're kind of a shitty spender, and they don't buy that many pay-per-views. I would look at the price of the sequence and maybe do 20% less, right? Or even a bit less than that, but that's gonna be up to you. Don't be scared to push the price up each time. Always be pushing it. People get so scared to raise the price. Limiting belief, you made that up. You can try. I'm not saying to stick with it like, no, sorry, my prices have gone up. Just try it. That's why if you say it's $150 a minute, it's very hard to go, oh, well, now it's $200 a minute. But if you go, that video will be $600, well, this video will be $800 next time, right? And people get excited by higher prices in a way. It seems like it's going to be better. It is hard, in some cases, to go back to multiple pay-per-view after you do this. If you start getting someone to tip $500 for a sexting session, it may be a bit difficult to start selling them pay-per-views because they're going to prefer it because they feel like they have more control. A lot of fans really will pay $400, $600, $800, $1,000 more for customs. If you're a creator doing this on your own, charging less than $100 for custom stuff, just charge more. I know it can feel like, oh, why would someone actually pay that for a video? Sometimes it just comes down to how much you ask for. So I would say just charge more. For the no pay-per-view things, I find this is actually really helpful. I wouldn't rush to do it. Basically, it's you get them to do a one-off payment at the start of the week or fortnight or month, whatever, and they get no paywall. You would calculate it based on how much they spend on average per week. Now, I wouldn't rush to do it with everyone because it's going to be very hard to go back from that. Like I said, it's going to be hard to start sending them multiple pay-per-views after that if they feel they can just do this one-off payment thing. So I would reserve it mainly for big spenders who are kind of on the way out. You feel like they're going to delete their account, they just don't spend as much anymore, and it's going to feel like a really good deal to them. Good way to get a bit of money before they leave, they keep renewing it. It's great. You can also do it with fans who just will not spend otherwise, give them a pretty low price on it if you want to do that, and it's a good way to collect money from them. Now, there's no point me telling you to increase your prices if I don't tell you how you can increase them. This is how you increase the perceived value of your content. First things first, a lot of people get this wrong. You need to make sure fans are at buying temperature. In other words, are they fucking horny enough, right? Because if you're trying to sell explicit content, they're probably not going to want it unless they're turned on. And you make them turned on by attempting sexting. Now, I have entire videos on sexting if you want to learn more. It's a bit of a big topic, but basically seem like you're genuinely into it too. Don't make it seem robotic, and only send the content once they're like basically begging for it, would be my recommendation. That's how you can charge a lot more. Be mindful that by sharing what content you create, like making it known on your page, so putting in your bio, BG tapes, custom videos, it instantly makes it kind of a commodity, right? You can't be like, I've never sent this to anyone before if it's on your bio, you know what I mean? So I would avoid that. I get why people do it, don't get me wrong. And 100% there are subs who will only subscribe to accounts if they can see what content is there in the bio. But if you want those really high spending fans, I would say it's probably better not to disclose that, but that's up to you. By making things a big deal, right? So making things seem like they matter to you, whether you send this content or not, you can charge more for it. Here's an example. If someone says, can I get a custom video? And you go, yep, $100 a minute. Do you sound like you give a fuck about him, that custom, or any of it? No, right? It's not a big deal. You want everything to seem like a big deal. So my advice would be, say it slower, say more. Go, oh, like a custom, let me think about it. I mean, I haven't done something like that before. Like, how would that go? You know what I mean? Like, use filler words to seem hesitant. The best frame that I find for pricing content high is seeming hesitant, nervous, but excited. Don't just be like, that sounds terrifying. Like, you want to seem like you're opening up to the idea kind of thing. Use the fear of missing out to get people to buy. Don't chase fans down trying to get them to spend like, oh, but you said you'd get that custom. You said you'd buy this video. You want to use the frame of, oh, well, you know how I sent you that video? Like, I'm getting a bit anxious about having it there because I don't usually send content like that. So, you know, if you want to get it, I'd just get it now, or I'm going to unsend it and probably delete it. They're so much more likely to want to buy that because they're like, why does she care about it so much? Like, what am I missing out on? You know, say, oh, don't judge me if you watch that. Things like that, it works. The 3 pillars of value, the 3 things that make content valuable, as far as I see it, is if they're exclusive, so not many people have it, or you haven't done it before. They're sentimental in some cases. This will bring us closer together. So if I make this custom video for you, that's gonna get us closer. I don't know why I'm doing that, but you know what I mean. And personalized. This content is made exactly how you want it, right? Those things make content valuable. If you make things a commodity, so like, yeah, this is my new BG tape, I'm releasing it on Thursday for $23. Like, it just doesn't seem like a big deal. It doesn't seem like any of those things. That's why people don't want to pay a lot for it. And if you're ever trying to sell someone something and they go, I don't think that's worth it, instead of giving them more content, you can give them something non-tangible. In the context of OnlyFans, that could be a dick rating, that could be a voice note, that could be a fucking sexting session. Just something that isn't content that's going to increase the value of your offer. The time when you're most likely to damage your content value is when you're negotiating, when you're trying to get someone to buy something and they're not making it easy. Best advice I can give you, stop rushing, right, and over negotiating. If someone says, oh, can you just drop the price on that? Don't just go, yeah, sure, $20 off. It's not about the money. It's about you're telling them that you'll just drop the price like that. What I would do, keep replying to them fast. Fast replies is important, but use those filler words from when we're making it a big deal. I don't usually do that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I usually say no to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, make it a big deal. Even if you do it, then it's going to seem like you're doing them a favor and they won't come to expect it. Don't be scared to stay firm sometimes, right? If you're selling some content that you will not drop the price on, like, that is fine. Sometimes, do you know what I mean? It's up to you. But what you can do is, like I said before, renegotiate. Offer them something else for a lower price. Might be similar, shorter video, not as intense, whatever it may be. That upholds your content value too. If you really want to get them to buy something and you want them to get, like, buy this video for this price, you can offer intangibles. Like I said, offer a dick rating, sexting session, voice note, anything like that. You could offer them content as well, but that's when you start to lower the content value. Use the fear of missing out, that frame I was saying before. Oh, like, I can't believe I even sent you that video. Like, it's probably a good idea if you don't see it. I might just unsend it in a sec. That frame of you're doing them a favor by letting them watch it works really well. Now, for big sales, I would advise dropping the price first. So you are the one to give them the price, and I would put it on the high end of what you are comfortable with. That way you can see if they're even in the same conversation as you. Some people want to pay like $20 for a custom, you know. So when you're negotiating these big sales, often you are going to be negotiating and dropping the price down and trying to find something that works for both of you. That's how you get the best price, right? Drop a high price and then meet in the middle somewhere that works well for you. Make it a big deal, blah, 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 right? But when you do drop the price, I would drop it in small increments. So let's say you were even selling a $400 custom. If he goes, that's too expensive, and you go, oh, let me take 100 off, you've just shown him you'll take a quarter of the price off like that. And then he goes, I'll do it for 200, half's gone. Like, drop 30 off, and then maybe drop another 30 off. Like, then you've upheld a lot of that value, rather than just like, yeah, I'll drop the price and take quarter off. Doesn't matter, you know? Now, big deal. Like I keep on saying, everything should be a big deal. If you're gonna drop the price, give someone a discount, anything, offer an intangible. The way that you don't make it just seem like you do this all the time and then they come to expect it is by making it seem like a big deal, like you're doing them a favor by doing this. And you do that by seeming hesitant, nervous, but it's like, oh, but like, I guess it's you, so just this time I'm gonna do this, but blah, 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 like I'm too generous. Do you know what I'm saying? Different frame. You're doing them a favor. You're just framing it like, here's a good example. If you're dropping the price of a big item, like a custom, and you're saying it's $500, you could say, would you be okay with 500? That's all right. You could say, I'd be happy to do it for 500. You're doing them a favor, right? Always be doing them a favor. They're not doing you any favors. Remember that. I would say that over-negotiating is one of the biggest mistakes that people make on OnlyFans without even realizing how damaging it can be. But there are so many things like that when it comes to chatting. It's so intricate. That's why I made an entire video on 5 of the biggest mistakes people make without even realizing. So you can watch that there, watch it, enjoy the rest of your day.